Hello friends, welcome back to Sri's tutorial. In today's video, we are going to learn how to use macros for the dynamic data. Friends, it's very interesting, so please watch the complete video. Let's start with the video. So here in this sheet, total I have three different sheets. In this sheet, I have some data which has only three records. In this, the next sheet, I have same data with 5 records, and the third sheet I have the same data with 7 records. So I have different sheets, three different sheets, and here I'm going to show you how to use macros. So let's start with the video. So first I have to record the macro. So for that I will click on developer tab. Friends, in my last video I have showed how to insert the developer tab. So if you missed my video, please check in the description box for the link. Now after clicking on developer box tab, I have to click on record macros. So here I have clicked on record macro. In record macro, when you click on record macro, you get the macro name. By default, I am getting macro 1. So I will leave the name with the same with macro 1. And then shortcut key, if you want to use some shortcut key, you can use, or else you can run manually the macro. And here store macro in, I'm using personal macro workbook. So if you want to use some different option, you can click and use the different option, but here I'm using personal macro workbook. So just click on OK. Now as soon as you click on OK, you can see here the recording started for recording the macro. Now here in this data, first I will insert some column here. So I will just say insert column, and same way I want to insert some rows at the top. So to type some text here. Now here in this cell I'm going to type total, and here I will insert the formula. I will say is equal to, now I have to multiply D5 multiplication symbol with E5 and press enter key. So here I have inserted the formula for total. So friends, as we all know that for one cell, if you'll insert the formula, simply we drag for the remaining cells. But here we are not going to do this. The reason is, if you'll drag the same formula for the remaining cells, the macro will fix the range, and this macro we cannot use for the other sheets. So that's the reason we are not dragging it. So here what we have to do is, we are going to use relative references. And how will you use relative references? So let's see that. First I will copy this formula by using Control C, Control plus C, and then I will just click on the cell before cell, and here I will use Control down arrow, Control plus down arrow to just go to the last record. So when you press Control plus down arrow, you go to the last record of your sheet. And here I will click on this use relative references. I will activate this use relative references just by clicking on it. So when I clicked on it, see here it is highlighted. That means it is on. Now after clicking on this use relative references, remember that you are not supposed to click with the mouse anywhere on the sheet. Just you have to use the right arrow on the keyboard. So I have just used right arrow and I came down to the total cell. Now here I will off this relative references. Now I offed it. Now here what I have to do is, I will use Control plus Shift plus up arrow and I will select the range. Control plus Shift plus up arrow to select the complete range. And here I will say paste. Control plus V for paste. So now I have pasted the formula in remaining cells also. So this is the way you can use your use relative references. Now here I want to select the headings to apply some format. So for this I will use Control Shift right arrow and I will select the entire heading. So friends, here we have to use Control Shift up arrow, down arrow and right arrow. So why, the reason is, if you use the mouse to click the ranges, it will fix the range and you cannot use this macro in another sheet. So that's the reason you have to use control plus shift plus up arrow, down arrow and right arrow. So here I'm going to apply the format. So I will say here color, and even I will change the text color, and even you can make it bold and increase the size if you want, and even you can apply the border here, all border. Same way I'm going to select this next cell. Here also I will use control plus shift plus right arrow and down arrow to for selecting the entire range. Now here I'm going to use the entire border, and then the color, I'm going to change the color for this, and then if you want to make it increase the size, you can increase the size, adjust the row, and now this is done. Now here these cells I'm going to merge and center. Now here I'm going to type some text. I will say here Sri's tutorial, and for this I'm going to increase the size by just clicking on it. I will fill the color for this. So this is done. Now we have to stop the recording. Just click here and go to developer tab and say stop recording. After stopping the recording, you can check in the other sheets whether this macros works or not. So just click on sheet, another sheet, and run the macros. How will you run the macros? Click on macros, and this is the name of the macro we have given, macro 1, and say run. So this is here, it's working. Now take another sheet, and here also click on macros and choose the macro and say run. So friends, here also it is working. So hope it's clear. It's very simple, very interesting. Please, if you like the video, share it, subscribe it. Thank you so much.